Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about 5 things that you'll need in order to grow your association, nonprofit, organization in 2022. Today, we're only going to talk about number one. Number one is content. What does that mean? I'm sure content has been thrown around quite a bit. And in fact, content strategy has been huge for the last couple of years. How do you develop that content strategy? What content do I use? All of those things. And it's a lot of work, to be honest. But here's a way to make sure that you have your content strategy, as well as getting tons and tons of content out to your users that isn't going to add much more work to you in your already lean organization due to obviously 2020. So, what does that mean? Number one, let's start with this content. Why do you need it? Right now, and there's tons of articles that are out there that talk about this all the time. But if a buyer is looking to buy from you, whether they want to become a member or an exhibitor wants to exhibit or sponsor at one of your events, they are consuming around 10 pieces of content, whether they're blogs, ebooks, white papers, whatever it may be from your organization, in order to even remotely think about purchasing from you. So with that in mind, do you have 10 pieces of content that are relevant to your members, to your exhibitors, that are going to really delve into the value proposition and help them to understand that you are the authority in this space as the organization for them to participate and want to become a member, or really from an exhibitor standpoint, want to actually exhibit at your events or events, right? As well as sponsor at them. So why is this really, really important? It's important not only because of the amount that we all consume daily at this point, and everything, reminder, has to be mobile friendly. Mobile optimized is the word that everybody uses now. Back then, it was mobile friendly. But as long as all of your websites, all of your content is mobile optimized, people will go ahead and consume as much as possible. Now, that content has to be in multiple different mediums. What this means is you have to do videos, you have to do podcasts, you have to do, written content, long form and short. But here's how I do it, for example. And tomorrow we will talk about content atomization. And this is one key way in order to start that process. So for your content, when you create a video, you can take the transcript of this video itself, use that as a blog post, or take the key components of it and use it as a blog post, add imagery, make sure that it's engaging. The video itself, you can post the full aspect of it or atomize it, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Then you can also strip the audio out of this, add in your intro to the podcast, intro to this, the outro from it, and boom, you've got a podcast. Not every podcast has to be with guests. You can have solo casts, which are extremely popular these days, to talk about the thought leadership that you're looking to give out there. Now, the other part of it is you don't have to do this alone. Everyone thinks that all content has to be organic. It has to come from you, right? You put your content strategy together. You're going to write a blog post and a video and an audio cast every single week. So that's 52 pieces of content. And you hear that and you get overwhelmed. Well, you don't need to do all of that. You, as an association, as a nonprofit, you have members, right? You have donors, you have subscribers. All of those can input their content into your content strategy. User-generated content is huge, and it's a huge value benefit for you. And here's why. Your user-generated content is being written by your users who know exactly what your users, your members' state of mind is when it comes to a particular topic. So for them to write it, it's going to resonate much more with your audience than if you were to write it. So let me repeat that one more time. User-generated content resonates much more with your users than the content that you write. It's because they trust another user before they even trust you. It's a weird psychology. Very weird, but it's true. Now, take on the other hand, right? You have exhibitors, you have sponsors. You can have sponsored contests. And I guarantee you, if you look at every single newsletter out there, you look at every single blog out there, you'll see paid content. You don't need to do this alone. Those 52 weeks could be 26 weeks of content made by you. The rest of it could be user generated, and it could be paid sponsorships and paid content as well, as long as obviously there's no selling within that content. But most of the businesses out there that are looking to take part in these content strategies understand it's not about selling. It's about building that trust and that authority, which nowadays we have to, with all of the slew of information and false information that's out there these days. So in 2022, number one thing, how to grow your brand, how to grow your association, your nonprofit, is developing your content strategy and obviously executing that content strategy. Thank you. And tomorrow we'll talk about number two, which is atomizing and distribution of that content. Thanks again. We'll talk then.